As far as the Russell goes, went right down. Now we held that zone, right? So it bounced, sold back off. We've tested. So we're talking about zone freshness. Not too often, but it's come up quite a bit as volatility picks up. We start knocking on zones more often than not. We found some buyers here at the type 1. Now they ran out. Found some buyers here at the type 2. Pushed it all the way up. We're back down, and now we're right here. So we still have that set of buyers, but how many are left before this ultimately breaks down? Breaking these previous lows, breaking this zone right here, I think would probably signal that we're headed a bit further down, which is why for now I'm hoping not just this move stays. I'm hoping tomorrow morning is at least green. Maybe a lunchtime turnaround. I could go short. And right around lunchtime, I'll look for that bull flag or reversal. They just look the same. Just depends on what echo chamber you sit in, that's when I'll probably like to take a short position. And I don't know if it'll be the Russell, Tech, or the S&P. We've killed it last week in the S&P. Even the growth account, shout out to anybody that did follow that, buying the calls. The growth account, we did buy calls. They were up overnight. And then in the mentorship, I didn't take it in the growth account, but we grabbed puts. So right here at the peak, grabbed puts Thursday night to swing into Friday, which were absolutely amazing. Sorry. I usually have somebody. All right. Anyway, technician says, speak for yourself. Yeah. The growth account is on Robinhood. So if you don't have all, it's funny saying this, if you don't have all the tools that Robinhood has, then there's just a lot of plays you probably can't take. Usually Robinhood's considered basic, but for instance, Robinhood, we can, there was a call that we bought. So we had bought calls and they'd actually just exploded at the end of the day. I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and it was at the end of the day you could close. It was actually after hours. So we ended up closing that right there. So anyway, you do have to remember, guys, the Patreon, right? The growth account where I post everything right when I do it, is not a call out service. It's just what I'm doing. And if you want my performance, you have to do my things. But that's that. I'd say we're doing I haven't even looked at the math, but we were up 40%, so I know we're up more now. Last year was 140%, so hopefully we can beat that this year. And then I guess we can take the next 10 years off. That way we can hang with the S&P. I do have the expected moves. Let me just bring those up for you guys. I'll edit this. If you guys have my charts, there you go. But if you want to take a look at that, there you have it. I did notice. Let me minimize that a little bit more. That's AMD and Intel down here. I did notice all the tech names. The expected moves did go up a little bit. So I'm curious what's going on in the tech center that has things so spicy. Because right now we are very much range bound. No matter how you dice it, we drew out this range, right? It's this one candle. We've been inside the whole time, kind of playing the zone game, just back and forth. Ultimately, buyers here, sellers up here. Let's make that just a tad bit brighter. Breaking this range will probably be my signal. I've got some bears that are in my chat, and I mean, we might be buddies if this does break. So I am interested in a short play. As far as the Russell goes, it does carry the bronze medal for me. More than usually, it's actually, if anything, it's a silver medal because the S&P and the Nasdaq are usually tied for first place as to which one I'm playing. But I'm very interested in taking a short position. What's kind of been the winner and why I went with the S&P is just because Nasdaq is all tech. There's just a lot of AI stuff involved in there, and there's just so much news involved. And I just don't want something to just drop. I still think tech is like the wild card. The markets could crash. We could see a full blown recession. There might just be some AI ticker in there that just sends this thing up. So and I know it's probably in the S&P as well, but I just feel safer, I guess. And I hate using the word safe. It's one of the dumbest things you can say as far as stock market goes. Bouncing out of this zone. All right, so let's break this one down. Tomorrow morning, if we are, let's say we're just right here. Now, what I'll end up doing is I'll go short with a stop right above this wick. Bull flag or reverse. We start to stall right here, kind of candy cane it up. I'll go short right here. Hopefully, by the time it hits this zone, my stop will be in the green, and we can just blast that thing down. The bottom can fall out. And I'll be on board. World War III. Let's do the red thumbnails. Let's keep me Kevin in here talking about a crash. All of the YouTubers. Crash for days. Either way, I will go short. So I'm going to keep this. This is obviously the zone, but I would almost look at this blank space right here because we just faded it so nicely. I might even entertain going short right here at this. Let's just grab a short position. To give you an idea of how I would go short this, I would go short right there, probably more type 1 mentality. Let's put my stop. I don't want it breaking that, so my stop would have to go right there. So that would be my first short entry, and then I would go short again right here. Same stop. Now, for those of you guys that don't really know risk management or how to trade, that's not just doubling down because you're down. Notice this is part of my plan before I ever even got in, which means all of my risk, my positioning, my allocation, all sizing, all questions answered before I ever got in. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to add on here, and I'm stopping out here. I'm not just going to go short here just because someone else said it, and then, oh, I'm down, I better double down real quick, and then just be, triple down up here? What are you doing when it breaks up that? So that's likely how I'll take it, and that will only be a horizontal play. Let me get my head out of the way. From this candle down, kind of keeping that range. I don't really care what the news is. That's just, it's sideways until not. So I will remain short right up there, but just looking for a short entry right inside here. Breaking above that. If the trend is up, you might hear me talk about something I took intraday, kind of just getting it to that level. But other than that, not too much. So that'll probably gap up in the morning. S&P. I really thought when we opened up green, I really thought this zone we would hit in the morning. This is actually a pretty decent opening that we've seen in a long time. So there's some buyers here, or just a very much lack of sellers. Go to any one of the Sunday Stock Talk videos in the past, weeks. That candle body looks like this candle right here without the wicks. The morning is like nothing. You could be long, short, you could be anything. And the Sunday open tells you nothing. This is pretty green. I kind of thought we'd hit this zone in the morning, and that's where I was going to take a short play. But we did break out of that range already on the S&P. So here's that range up here, that same one we have drawn out on the other tickers. This one just got absolutely beat down. And I don't know if you are subscribed to this channel. Hopefully you are, but I don't know how many times you've seen me draw out these red lines. We've talked about inside candles, and we've talked about how if you have my charts, you have my chart link, right click on there, click add an alert on both these, and when one of those goes off, that's your alert. That's the sign that we're breaking in that direction. So I am looking for a short play right now. I guess that could end up being just a fake out. We could just take off. Going short this zone right here would just be another lower high play. So there's a couple entries to go short. That I think would be pretty decent. Right now, I'm just going to wait until the open. If I don't choke and die first. So anyway, before I die, hit the subscribe button.